And we are just 26 hours and, well, counting the pregame show, probably another 30 minutes on top of that before kickoff for the New York Jets home opener. We are going to break down Jets versus Patriots tonight, and we got a whole lot of other stuff to talk about in the world of New York sports. But, guys, you know what's up. It's Wednesday night. It's 6 p.m. Eastern time, and we are live. It's New York Sports WickerMedia here, and if you know, I lived in Chicago for about 20 years, and I am back for the Labor Day weekend. And on my travels, you know I had to come by and check out Wicker Park. Right behind me, I am in the actual Wicker Park in the neighborhood of Wicker Park. You know, you got the fountain right there behind me as well. We got a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky. Gonna go see some Mets White Sox in a little bit. And in addition, I also had to throw in right behind me is the statue of the great Charles Wicker, of whom this park and neighborhood are named after. So you have New York Sports, WickerMedia in Wicker Park with Charles Wicker in the background. Well, welcome everybody to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watts2K99. Thank you as always for taking the time to join me on a Wednesday night. And you guys are off to a hot start tonight. We got a pretty loaded chat room, especially for the first few minutes. Yeah, usually people are getting off work. They're getting in their cars. They're making phone calls. They got to do whatever they got to do. But we got a hot start with some friends new and old. And yes, we're going to get into a whole lot of Jets and Patriots tonight. But first of all, you know, I've got to acknowledge just a couple of people here. We're going to start with the great Tony Alexio, who was a very good sport when I had to show him the Chris Streveler jersey. If you weren't here for that last week, that was pretty hysterical. That I found a guy in Chicago at a bar wearing an autographed college Chris Streveler jersey. It's amazing that they exist, but they actually do. We've got the great Johnny Jimenez, a longtime Virginia Jets fan, and I certainly had a very good run there, a place I will always hold dear. I'm glad you're here, my friend. We've got the great Alan. Of course, I started calling him Alon because that's pretty much how I read it at first, and now it's sort of a running gag. He will be very disappointed to know tonight I do not plan to talk any hockey. This will be a hockey puck-free episode. No puck tonight, Alon. I'm sorry to tell you, but I'm glad that you took the time to stop by. He will always tell you what's on his mind, and it'll usually ruffle up a few feathers along the way. But, hey, it's definitely never boring when he's around, and I appreciate him. Speaking of people I appreciate, David D is here. Greetings to you as well. Glad you made it. I know we got some people in some various states. They like to keep a little bit quiet. I greet them as well. Let's get right into the content right now and talk about what's on my mind with a little bit of what we like to call 3 and out. First, we're going to talk a little New York Mets. My goodness, tied for the second wild card heading into today. The Diamondbacks currently laying waste to the Colorado Rockies. So the Mets about to fall a half a game behind going into tonight's game against Washington. And a lot of players really stepped up in that game last night. You know, the offense had been very, very sluggish for quite some time. But Pete Alonso has been stepping up despite what a lot of critics want to say. Going in the last 5 games, 6 for 15, 5 singles, a home run, 9 for 20 in his last 5 games. And Luis Angel Acuna, oh my goodness, Mets got the best Acuna in baseball, at least the best one that's on an active roster right now. Makes an error early in the game that allows Washington to take the lead. He bounces back, goes 3 for 5 with an RBI double, his first career home run. That was pretty fantastic. And I got to tell you, that swing, that right-handed swing, that smooth motion, very reminiscent of his brother, who may be the best all-around player in the game. Now the Mets got their own Acuna. This is very, very exciting. And I just want to thank the Texas Rangers for being willing to take on Max Scherzer and give us Luis Angel Acuna back. Unbelievable. Tyler McGill, got to give him some credit as well. 4 starts since his return. He's allowed just 5 runs in 21 innings, a 1.69 ERA. And hey, Mets are up 2 games on the wild card, 11 games to go. Not going to spend a ton of time on this, although I could. I won't. But man, oh man, super, super exciting in a season that very few people thought they would have a shot at making the playoffs. But to hold off the Braves would be amazing. As far as the Yankees go, it looks like they are coasting to the AL East title. They have a chance to clinch a playoff spot tonight. And a lot of credit to, even though I don't think this is the best Yankees team I've seen in a long time, they're certainly getting a bye. They're 4 games up on Baltimore. And players like Gleyber Torres, he's been stepping up, batting .365 in his last 15 games. So we'll have a lot more to say about that as we keep going. And I just got to spend a minute here. We're going to get into the football right now, but I just got to spend a minute here on the New York Football Giants. They're kind of becoming a regular part of 3 and Out. I gotta flip it over to the background in MetLife Stadium as I do that. But the fact that they lost that game to the Commandskins in Landover, they did some things better. Daniel Jones played fine, but you know what? He always plays well against Washington. Always. And their secondary stinks. Malik Neighbors played very well, 10 catches for 127 yards, despite a terrible drop late in the game on 4th down. The defense was bend, don't break. They allowed 215 rushing yards by Washington, over 6 per carry, but they were able to keep them out of the end zone. But the kicking game is the story, and I got to spend a minute on this. Graham Gano, he didn't just suddenly get hurt on Sunday. He had a groin issue on Saturday, and he's an excellent kicker, but here's the problem. He's had these issues before. Brian Daboll had to know better. He had to know his kicker because he's seen Gano, good as he is, get hurt before. He did not call up the kicker from the practice squad, and in warmups, what does Gano do? He pulls his hamstring. So the Giants don't have a kicker all game in a game that they had a chance to win and really needed to win. And they now become the first team ever to score 3 touchdowns in a game, give up no touchdowns, and still lose. That is Jets-esque right there. That is wouldn't you have thought if a team would have done that, it would have been the Jets? Well, it has happened 1,133 times, but this is the first time a team has lost when they did it. Man alive. And now Giants have been 0-2 in 10 of the last 12 years, and now on to Cleveland they go, who looked okay in beating down Jacksonville. So who knows how that's going to go. But I'll tell you what, let's say hello to a few other people who have stopped by as well. We've got the great Harlan Abraham. He's greeting Tony. He's greeting the chat. Glad you're here. He always appreciates it when I pull out, a trivia question from way back in the archives. The great Dane is here as well. That's right. Cheers to you. There we go. That's right. Wow, wave. That's what I'm talking about. Appreciate you coming by as well. Yeah, it says that the Giants are a bonfire. I don't know. A bonfire is actually functional sometimes. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh, it is. It's almost as ugly as those Montreal Canadian uniforms they wore week 1. But yeah, I didn't think Brian Daboll, though, should have had questions about his job. I mean, Pat Leonard, who was a little bit of he liked to stir it up a little bit when he was the beat reporter for the New York Rangers. See, Alon? See what I mean? But he likes to stir it up. He was asking, should your job be in jeopardy, basically, if he was worried about his job? In week 2, he's getting this question. Come on. Not cool. Not cool. To get that question week 2 to me is absolutely ridiculous. He made a mistake, but come on. Brian Daboll's not going anywhere in the middle of the season. All right. So a couple of things. Oh, we got Nate, channel member. Remember, memberships are available for just $5 a month. You get your emojis. You get mentioned at the end of every video that I record. I give you a little shout out on the screen. We've also got the great Thomas Fitzpatrick here, guys. This is a Boston fan who's invading our space just 26 hours before we go head-to-head with the evil empire. But Thomas is a good dude. He's never had a smash burger in his life, but hopefully he will one day. So go ahead, give him a sub if you haven't already. He does a lot of live streaming also. So yeah, check the young man out. He's a good people. He's good people. I see that throwback watch. UK Dane asks, who is it? It's number 10. Who else could it be but the GOAT, the true GOAT of AFC East quarterbacks, Chad Pennington. The real GOAT, okay? You didn't have to trademark it. Anyway, Nate is on the 7 train. Oh, are you heading to the game tonight, Nate? Fantastic. Love that. That's right. We got a few new emojis in there, including, different New York teams as well. And Harlan has heard that, Dable wants to trade for Zach Wilson. Exactly what are you giving up for him? No, I don't think I don't know if that's going to happen. Put it this way. If Zach Wilson is the answer to your problem, what the hell was the problem to begin with? I mean, between Drew Lock, between Tommy DeVito, I would take a chance on them before I'm trading for Zach Wilson. Just doesn't make any sense. It is not an Alan Lazard jersey. It is not a Santonio Holmes jersey either. No. I would not be buying an Alan. Alan Lazard has a long way to go. Speaking of the number 10, we actually have 10 people in the chat room right now. So that's pretty cool. Oh, that's right. They're giving away a free reversible hoodie tonight at Citi Field. And Nate, I hope it's a good turnout. It's certainly been a loud turnout, but yeah, the stadium's been like 25,000 people. And that's been one of the big controversies as of late is where are all the people? And people can say, well, we're working, it's expensive to go. And it's just like, people were going, 2015, 2019, 2022. Maybe it's the fact that it's a wild card race that it doesn't have quite the same appeal. Maybe that has something to do with it. But yeah, you get to see Acuna. I think that's pretty fantastic. We've got Musicum 22. We got a Giants fan here. Oh my goodness. Welcome to the channel, Musicum 22. I'm glad you're here. He's had enough of our shenanigans. I think he means this in a collective sense. But yeah, and that's the whole thing. I'm just going to say I got no real hatred for the Giants, just a few Giants fans who want to pick on the Jets, who want to act like it's the Yankees-Mets relationship. That's just the one thing I'm not a really big fan of. But the thing, as good as Neighbors is, it was a mistake for them to – I know they wanted to get a quarterback. They wanted to make the trade for May. They weren't in the position to do it, but I still wonder if JJ would have made the most sense for them because they still have a lot of questions at quarterback, and unless you have a great quarterback, of what use is a great wide receiver? Musicum giving a little bit of shade, saying the Mets have plenty of time to mess it up. Yes, they do, and the Braves and whatnot have plenty of time to keep screwing up too. And, if I'm assuming you're a Yankee fan, just worry about your own team. You got plenty there to keep you busy based off how you performed in the playoffs as of the last few years. Yankees got a chance to go all the way, but you know what? So do a dozen other teams. You are a Mets fan. Oh, I guess I can see that. You must be one of the guys I usually encounter on Facebook. Oh, boy. All right, I understand. I got you. See the Giants thing, you sometimes assume Yankees. But all right, guys, well, I'll tell you what. Speaking of, we've been talking about Giants there for a minute. Let's flip the color from blue to green. And I think we all know what we have to say because this is a big week coming up. So everybody, I want to hear you. Say it proud, say it loud, and let me hear you. It is time to talk a little New York Jets football. And I'm letting the baseball talk go. You're not going to mess with me right now. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on here in the news. And you know what? I'm not going to do that. I was going to go there, but I think I'm going to go a little different direction here. Let's see. 2, 3, 4. Where's the one I'm looking for? Can't find the right side that I want. All right. Well, I'm just going to give you a quick recap from the game in Tennessee, and just to mention one or two things that stuck out to me. I said this on Sunday night in my recap, but I do want to mention this again. The Jets took 7 penalties in this game, really 8. Because one was an offsetting penalty along with Tennessee. But they took 7 penalties in the first half. They did not take a single penalty in the second half. And I think that's something worth mentioning. Because we're talking about how big of an issue penalties were all season long last year, and they absolutely were. But they really cleaned their stuff up in the second half. And I think that deserves a little bit of credit. Last year, Jets, I'm getting to the injury update in a minute, Harlan, but I want to do it in a certain order. I'm gonna bring it back up. We averaged about 10 penalties a game last year, And you know what? If we're averaging just 4 to 5, I'll take that in a minute. All right, so let's get into the. Let's see. I gotta find them somewhere. Let's see. There we go. 3, 4, 5, 2, 1. I'm looking for a certain slide, guys, but I think I may have. It may have disappeared on me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't. You know what, guys? I'm not sure if I can bring this one slide back up. Yeah, I think it disappeared, but I'm gonna see if I can bring it back up. There it is. Okay. I think it's coming up now. Snap counts. I always break down the snap counts every week. Okay, now we can do it. Recapping game 2. That's the one I was looking for. All right, let's blow that bad boy up. All right, so let's talk about how the snap counts looked in the game against Tennessee and how they changed from week 1. Okay. So we had 57 snaps on offense. That was up 6 from week 1 when it felt like we were never even on the field. Aaron Rodgers played all 57 snaps at quarterback. I think he's getting a little too much criticism. You know, we don't need Aaron Rodgers to be the Aaron Rodgers from 2010. We need him to be Aaron Rodgers in the big moments, in the big drives. Okay? And on that game-winning touchdown drive, he went 5 for 5 for 74 yards. I was very pleased with how he played because you know what? He's only going to get better as he learns to trust these receivers more. Now, at running back, Breece Hall played 41 snaps. Braylon Allen played 20. Allen went up 11 snaps from last week. I love that because last week, one of the things we talked about, the Jets were not using any 2 running back formations. This week, they started to do that. And the offense really seemed to work. It made sense to use the extra running back as opposed to the extra wide receiver. And I got a feeling we're going to keep seeing more and more of that. At the wide receiver position, Garrett Wilson played 55 snaps. Allen Lazard went down a little bit with 47. Mike Williams, look at this, up 28 snaps from last week. He was targeted only once, though. Whether that's him not getting open, whether that's Aaron Rodgers not really looking for him yet, we'll have to find out what that is all about. But you know, the talk was they wanted 15 snaps week 1, and then it would go up. And it skyrocketed, up 28 snaps. Who took the brunt for that? It was Xavier Gibson. Played only 6 snaps, down 24 and 80% drop from week 1, or he did basically nothing anyway. Malachi Corley, once again, 1 snap, but he did catch a pass on the only play that he was on the field. Tight end, as far as that goes, well, Ty Conklin, 53, Jeremy Ruckert, 21. Brendan Bates got into the game. He had 4 snaps, so Anthony Ferkser sat down for this game. And offensive line, you got to love it. Isn't it beautiful when there's only 5 names on the list? Remember last year, I had to keep track of like 8 or 9 offensive linemen at a time. It's been fantastic. Tyron Smith graded the 3rd best tackle overall in week 2. Morgan Moses ranked 12th out of all tackles, not just right tackles, all tackles. Elijah Vera Tucker ranked the 6th best guard. Did you see that highlight when Jeffrey Simmons basically jumped in the air? I think it was Simmons. Jumped in the air. He was trying to get AVT to bite, and AVT just kind of like caught him and then threw him down almost like a choke slam in wrestling. It was so amazing to see him wipe Simmons out. John Simpson, the 9th best guard in the league. So both guards in the top 10, fantastic. And then at center, Joe Tippmann, 2nd best ranked center according to PFF. Rodgers was pressured once in the game. Now, ESPN says he was pressured 6 times. PFF says once. So, I mean, who knows how these things are even being graded. But Jeffrey Simmons, who's an all-pro, did not record a single pressure against the Jets in week 2. It is only the 2nd time in the last 33 games he did not have at least 1 pressure. Last season, had at least 2 pressures in every game. This offensive line is freaking good. They are good, and they have figured it out quickly. And as long as that line stays together, we're going to be pretty happy with this offense. Let's check out a couple quick notes here in the chat. Yep, Harlan, exactly right. Saleh doesn't believe in blitzing a lot. He did his first 2 seasons when they didn't have a good pass rush, kind of like what Rex did. Saleh, they will blitz on 3rd down, but if they blitz on 1st and 2nd down, take the under on. You're not going to see it again in the game in all likelihood. Yeah, that's pretty much that's the whole thing. It's not cerebral like it was with Rex or like it is with, say, Wink Martindale. Saleh does not want the players to think. He wants them to know the things they have to do and attack and not hesitate by thinking. So the less brain you use and the more brawn you use, the better off you are. All right, let's flip it over to the defensive side of the ball. So the defense played 66 snaps, down 6 from week 1 against San Francisco. JJ, we know the deal. Played only 32 snaps. We know why. Down 30 from last week. Very unfortunate. And we'll talk about that in a few moments when we get into the injuries. Quinnen Williams played 49 snaps. So he played the vast majority of this game. He played, what would that be? About, 75, 80% of the game, really. Javon Kinlaw, who I thought was very good in this game, played 37 snaps. Solomon Thomas, 29. He took a little bit of a hit, went down 9 snaps. Will McDonald, Michael Clemens, Tack McKinley, and Jalen Holmes all stayed around the same number of snaps that they did week 1. Not a drastic change one way or another. Braden McGregor got a few more snaps, went up from 8 to 12. Wasn't all that noticeable. But even with the JJ injury, they tried to really maintain the rotation, and it worked out well because on that final drive, McDonald was creating pressure after pressure after pressure, including the one sack on the next to last play of the drive. So well done. Well done by the defense to divide those snaps up. At linebacker, Quincy Williams played all 66 snaps. C.J. Mosley played only 16 because he is dealing with a toe injury. Jamian Sherwood, 54 snaps, was off the field for only 12 snaps, and I feel like the Jets didn't miss a beat with him in the lineup. So he went up from 32 snaps to 54. Chaz Surratt had 6. Then at corner, Sauce played all 66. Brandon Eccles played all 66. And man, oh man, he gave everything. Did y'all see the picture of him basically puking on the field after the game was over? He gave it everything that he had in that game. Michael Carter II, 30 snaps. His count went up in this game from 19 last week to 30 this week. Quantas Stiggers did not play in this game. JBC did not play in this game. It was really a 3-cornerback attack, and that was it. The Jets never played a dime in this situation. And then at safety, Tony Adams and Chuck Clark played 66. As Isaiah Oliver took Ashton Davis's snaps, Oliver became the nickel safety, worked much better. He is a much better tackler than Davis is. So you see the Jets being willing to adjust very quickly on defense. They tend to be a little bit slower to adjust on offense, but I like that Ulbrich and Saleh are willing to make some changes. Tony Alexio with a good question. Will Leonard Taylor get a chance? I certainly hope he will. I don't know, though, if this is the best week for him to be playing, especially against a New England offense that is predicated on running the football. He can play against the run, but it's about his explosion getting into the backfield. Put it this way. If Will McDonald was a defensive tackle, he'd be a lot like Leonard Taylor. In terms of the intangibles, the body makeup, the speed, the strengths, the weaknesses, LT and Will McDonald, in my mind, are rather similar players and what they could do and how they're going to be effective and also what their shortcomings are. So, all right, let's get that out of there. And now let's go over to the we're going to go to the injury. Now, see, I have too many slides up. I got to organize this stuff better next time. All right, so let's add the injuries to the stage. Hope you guys like the graphic that I made here. Blake Cashman, Mekhi Becton, Zach Wilson, and Breece Hall. I couldn't find a good picture of Elijah Vera Tucker, but I brought out. I couldn't bring out Aaron Rodgers. It was too soon. I couldn't do that one. But all right, so with the injury updates, there are some things going on with this defense that we need to talk about. We know JJ tore his Achilles. He is unfortunately out for the season. You obviously hope and pray he will be ready to go at the beginning of next season. But we know with players like Carl Lawson, to get that explosion back, it is not easy to do. But you got to love his attitude, love his approach, that he seems ready to go, that he is going to do everything he can to come back. No feeling sorry for himself. So I am very encouraged by his attitude and his approach. So much credit to JJ. Now, CJ Mosley, he did not practice today. Now, we all love him. He's smart. He is very respected, very experienced. But I think, even just the average football fan could notice how much faster and more assertive the defense looked when he went out of the game and Sherwood came in. If we got to go this week with Quincy and Jamie at linebacker, I can live with that. Now, he did not practice on Wednesday. He is questionable for this game. Turf toe is usually an injury that takes a few weeks to come back. I don't think it's a situation where he should be playing. I would expect a little more Chez Surratt in this game. That's pretty much my expectation here. But count on Quincy and Jamie playing nearly every snap in this game. All right. Now, I did want to mention Will McDonald, one other thing. He is the first Jets player with 3 sacks and a forced fumble in a game since Muhammad Wilkerson in 2015, the first defensive lineman to get 3 sacks in a game for the Jets since Henry Anderson in 2018. And the last time any Jet had 3 sacks in a game, ironically, was Jamal Adams, who happened to be in this game as well. Now, one thing that's confusing to me is the Michael Carter II injury. I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts on this. So he aggravated the ankle injury week 1. Saleh says potentially it's a season-long issue. Okay. He was sort of straddling the fence a little bit in the press conference, talking about possibly this could hamper him for the season. They'd have to sort of figure out his playing time, how they were going to handle that. So the vibe I got is he could play, but he can only play so much. All right. It's like, that's not a good sign, but it's like, okay, he can play. But the thing is, though, he did practice fully today, and he has no injury designation going into this game. And I was thinking against New England, who has very little wide receiver talent, this would be the week to rest him, give him the extra week off, have him ready to go for Denver. So maybe Saleh's just trying a little bit more misdirection, something like that. But it seems strange to me that Carter did not even have an injury designation, nor did DJ Reed. He's also 50-50 for this game. He had a full practice today, also no injury designation too. So maybe the Jets have all 3 cornerbacks ready to go for this game. But you know what? The way that Echols played, and Tony's exactly right. The way that Echols played in this game, if he's ready to go and play the way he did against Tennessee, who had a much better receiving core than New England does, you know what? Give Reed the extra time off. It's okay. The Jets lost 3 very good defensive players potentially for this week, but you know what? They're replaceable for this particular game in my mind. Now, Sauce Gardner, got to spend a minute on him. He had a rough game, maybe the worst rated game of his career. It happens. But what bothers me is you got these absolute clowns on the radio and on social media, but especially on the radio, calling him, quote, overrated. That was the word that they used. It just shows you sometimes how desperate people are to get clicks and to get attention. Maybe he did get banged up against San Francisco, but it's like we're going to conveniently ignore that Sauce Gardner was first-team All-Pro his first 2 years. Something that very few defensive players have ever done. So he has one game where he isn't exactly lights out. Yes, he gave up a long touchdown. That was a complete fluke. Great play by Calvin Ridley, but he's basically falling to the ground. If anything, Sauce could have turned around and tried to play the ball, but he was so focused on Ridley. Maybe he thought Chuck Clark was coming in to make the play because, Clark was coming in from across the field, couldn't quite make the play on the ball, and miraculously Ridley gets the touchdown. But it's like because of that, all of a sudden, Sauce Gardner is an overrated cornerback. Spare me. Just spare me. Dane, thoughts on Jermaine's tweet about being regular season ending and not season ending? It's season ending. It's season ending. You are not coming back from an Achilles in 5 months. All right. And that would be best case scenario. 5-6 months. No, an Achilles is going to be easy 9 months. Easy 9 months. It's just not going to happen. Why do I think Sauce doesn't turn his head? I just think his instinct, I guess it's just the way his mind is wired, is to focus on the receiver. He wants to know where the receiver is, and he wants to stay step for step with them. I don't think it's anything too much more complicated. I think he is all about forcing the incomplete pass as opposed to playing the ball. And, he's not the physical player that Darrelle Revis was. He's not that type of player. But if he's got the work ethic, the speed and whatnot, and the agility to stay with any wide receiver, and he's just going to keep forcing incomplete passes, I'm not going to mind that. Yep, Tony Alexio. Irv Charles was a game changer. Hey, I made sure to mention him on Sunday night when I did my recap video. Yeah, his tackling, the block punt, fantastic. Justin Hardy was a very good Jet. I think that was a very worthwhile free agent signing. But yes, he was prone to taking a few penalties. But now, when we look at free agent signings, I think Justin Hardy was definitely a good one. He was here 3 or 4 years. I think he made the unit better all in all, but you have to know when to walk away. You have to know when to move on. And, hey, Irv Charles, bravo, my man. And, hey, when guys like Kenny Yeboah come back, this unit's going to be even better than it already is. All right. So let's go. What are we doing here? We'll do the week 3 preview in a moment. Before we do that, we're going to go around the AFC East. All right. So let's talk a little bit about Buffalo and kind of where they are along with Miami. Buffalo, the only 2-0 team left in the division. Josh Allen, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, sacked twice in this game. He wasn't very good for my fantasy team. He only gave me 11 points. So to me, I wasn't very impressed. But James Cook, he is really starting to stand out as a running back. 5 yards per run he's already getting. And Allen is not afraid to sort of dish it all out. 10 players have caught a pass this season. So even with the losses of Diggs and Davis, the offense is still working. On defense, Dorian Williams has a team-high 19 tackles. They needed somebody to step up after Matt Milano went out for the season. Williams is doing that, but Terrell Bernard left the game against Miami in the first half with a pec injury. So both of the team's starting linebackers are injured in addition to their nickel cornerback, Teron Johnson. So now they play Monday night home against Jacksonville, against a Jacksonville team that is not clicking right now. They really aren't. And in the secondary, Jamarcus Ingram, where did this guy come from? 3 passes defended last week, 2 interceptions, including a pick 6 against Miami. Another player in that defense coming out of absolute nowhere. Do I think Buffalo is quite the same team they were last year? I'm not ready to go there just yet. I mean, they did take out Tua, and I think that had a lot to do with it. But, we'll see how they are over the next couple of weeks, and let's see if they get picked off before they do play the Jets in a couple of weeks. And as far as Miami goes, what can you say? I mean, I went out to watch the game last Thursday night, and yeah, when Tua went out, I was not happy about it. It was really unfortunate. You could say that they rushed him back, but you know what? He played great last year. Tua led the NFL in passing yards, but now it's Skylar Thompson. He'll be starting for now. They do sign Tyler Huntley off the Baltimore practice squad. In Huntley's career, he's played 20 games, completed 64.6% of his passes, 8 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, a 79 rating. Pretty average, but he can run. 115 runs for 509 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, but he also has fumbled 4 times as well. So you might have a little bit of a higher upside with Huntley, but you're a little bit more mistake prone with him as well. Tyreek Hill, I couldn't believe, had only 3 catches for 24 yards in this game. So let's see how Miami does. They are heading to Lumen Field in Seattle to take on the Seahawks in a very hostile environment. That should be a very, very interesting game. All right. And now we go on to the New England Patriots. And specifically, we are going to preview this game right now. I had to pull the old clip up of Breece Hall running through the snow. That clip just makes me smile. What can I tell you? All right. So let's get into this. Now, as far as both teams go, both teams are – we're going to look at the DVOA here. We try to do the DVOA every week. So far, the Jets, I'm going to break it down. Offense, defense, special teams, and overall. 18th on offense, 23rd on defense, 11th on special teams, 20th overall. The good thing with DVOA is it brings in the specific situation. So it's great you completed a 10-yard pass, but if you did it on 3rd and 25, exactly how good is it? But if you completed the 10-yard pass on a 3rd and 9, it's a little bit more meaningful. So DVOA is a little more situation specific, so it is a pretty good statistic in my mind. Jets are 20th overall in DVOA. As far as New England goes, ranked a little bit better. 13th on offense. I guess they don't care for about wide receivers all that much. 21st on defense, 14th on special teams, 16th overall. Okay, so I watched basically the end of the Seattle-New England game. I really felt the Patriots really gave the game away in overtime. We're going to go into that game and just basically what went down in it. But this is going to be our real game preview. We're going to do it right now. Usually, if you guys know me, I post a separate game preview video where I go the offense versus the defense, then the other team's offense against the other team's defense. We're just going to do that right now. So let's talk about the Patriots offense against the Jets defense. Say this about New England. They are a good, tough, fundamental team, especially on offense. They are yet to commit a turnover this season. They're about solid, grinded out, ugly football. You got Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. Now, he's only 19-31 as a starting quarterback in his career, but he's thrown 52 touchdowns to 23 interceptions. It is hard to get to pick the ball off of him, and it's tough to get him to commit turnovers. So in a way, he kind of makes sense for this offense. Now, the Jets did see him last year when he was in Washington, when he nearly brought the Command Skins back in that one game. Ramondre Stevenson is the horse of this offense. Right now, averaging 4.5 yards per carry, 100 yards per game, and he has 2 touchdowns. But don't forget Antonio Gibson. He came over from the aforementioned Command Skins. Last week, 11 rushes for 96 yards, including a 45-yard run. So you got they got a little thunder and lightning combination of their own, just like the Jets did. So the Jets' run defense will get tested against an offense averaging 5 yards per run. Now, the receiving issues, this is what we want to talk about. Hunter Henry last week, their tight end, 8 catches, 109 yards. Not one other receiver had more than 12 yards receiving. Not one. This team's got some receiver issues. Close to the remember when the Jets' best wide receiver was Brashad Perriman? They're about on that level. Okay, 3 catches last week for 19 yards. Jalen Polk scored his first career touchdown early in the game. From then on, no PATS wide receiver caught a ball until the final minute of the fourth quarter. These guys just don't get open. KJ Osborne, formerly of the Vikings, Tyquan Thornton, Javon Baker, the rookie, Demario Douglas. I don't know what the deal is with this offense. They don't even give him a chance. He has 3 targets in 2 games, and I think he's the best wide receiver that they have on that team. But he doesn't get used. And Douglas actually admitted to the New England media he feels he is not getting a chance to show what he can do. He's frustrated, and he's expressing it to the media. You think that would have happened under the days of Belichick? Me thinks not. And this goes back to what Tony said. We hope Sal isn't coached by Gerard Mayo. New England is no walk in the park with good coaching. Yeah, pretty good. It's good in some ways, but they are a very, very limited team, to say the least. And this offensive line, they have a lot of wear and tear already. There are several players listed as questionable. Some of the players who are out, center Jake Andrews, both their starting guards, and Cole Strange, first-round pick Cole Strange. I know Nick Shine would want me to mention that. And Sidey Sal are out for this game. Vidarian Lowe, the veterinarian Lowe, whatever his name is, the left tackle. He left Sunday with a knee injury. He is out for this game. All right, and so instead, starting at left tackle will be Caden Wallace, the 3rd-round rookie from Penn State. They asked him about how he felt about playing. He said, well, I'll just do whatever the team wants me to do. I'm just glad for the opportunity. The complete by-the-book, canned answer. Okay, so the Jets are going against a rookie left tackle, and not even that good of a rookie left tackle. So even without JJ, big opportunity here. David Andrews, their center, is questionable. Mike Onwenu, nearly a New York Jet at right tackle, he is questionable for this game with a wrist injury. He is by all accounts the best offensive lineman they have to offer. And by the way, he was getting beat most of last week by Seattle. Okay, there have been rumors that he showed up basically out of shape after getting his contract, that he is not in the same condition that he was in last season. The Patriots are actually using, check this out, I couldn't believe this. They are 16% of the time on offense, 16% of their snaps, they are using 6 offensive linemen. I think Connor Rogers gave me that stat. But still, they're surrendering pressure 50% of the time against Seattle and over 40% of the time against Cincinnati. I know our pass rush is depleted. I don't need to go through all the names that are out. You know who they are. But they have every chance in the world to generate pressure on Jacoby Brissett. That is when the Patriots actually decide to throw the football. Okay? But one thing the Jets do need to do is they still need to tackle better. They had 18 missed tackles week 1, 9 last week against Tennessee. So definitely an improvement. But I can think of several plays where they had Will Levis or Tony Pollard dead to rights for a loss, and they escaped. They not only need to generate the pressure, they got to finish the damn play. So I got an idea. I want Chuck Clark against the team playing that's going to be running the ball probably 75-80% of the time, if they could help it. Chuck Clark, we know, is not great in coverage. He is not the fastest safety out there. He was actually a liability in pass coverage last week. Why not move him down and basically give you that extra linebacker? Why not? That's what he does best. He's an excellent tackler, and he's a very physical player. Chuck Clark can be a very, very valuable piece for this defense, I think, if he is being used correctly. So I know he got a lot of criticism. He has a chance to turn that around because what you got to do in this game is contain Stevenson and Gibson. If the Jets do lose this game, it'll be because they screwed it up themselves, that they made mistakes, penalties, turnovers, and it's going to be death by 1,000 paper cuts. Run, possess the ball, run, hold the ball for 35 to 40 minutes. That is exactly what New England is going to try to do. They're going to try to run the San Francisco strategy, except I think they are far less capable of executing it than the Niners were. All right, now I don't have the graphic up, but we'll flip the script. There we go. So when the Jets offense has the ball against the Pats defense, well, the Patriots can stop the run. They're holding their opponents to 3.3 yards per run. Granted, it was against Zach Moss and it was against a bunch of Zachs, Moss and Charbonnet. So we know that the Patriots can stop running backs named Zach, but they ain't seen a Brees and they ain't seen a Braylon. They ain't seen the killer bees yet, my friends. Christian Barmore out for the season with blood clots. He may not play this season. They just lost. This is a big loss too. They lost Juwan Bentley for the season with a torn pec. So against Seattle, he went down with a shoulder injury, tried to play through it. As of Monday afternoon, the team was hopeful he would play on Thursday. And then that very evening, the news breaks that Bentley is out for the rest of the season. Don't underestimate that loss, guys. He is one of their best players. He is a leader on that team, does a lot of the play calling on the field. And in the locker room, he is a very valuable presence. You want numbers on him? I got numbers for you. Last year, 114 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 3 passes defended, and a forced fumble, has 100 tackles each of the last 3 years. Big loss. Now, they have Keon White, a very good young defensive end who's becoming like a little bit better, pretty much year by year. And at safety, you've got Kyle Duggars, who is a tackling machine. Jabril Peppers, no slouch either, but he's questionable for this game with a shoulder injury. Now, the secondary is a little bit weird to me with the cornerbacks because you got Christian Gonzalez, who was very good against Garrett Wilson last year. You have Jonathan Jones and you have Marcus Jones. The secondary, as we know, when it had Belichick, it was all about taking away the best option, however they had to do it. But the Patriots could not handle the Seattle receivers unless they tried to stop Tyler Lockett. All right, I don't know why they would have. But DK Metcalf, 10 catches, 129 yards, a 56-yard touchdown. Jackson Smith-Njigba, 12 catches, 117 yards. Geno Smith, who we know well, finished 33 of 44 passing, 327 yards, and that touchdown. Geno had more passing yards in the first half than Joe Burrow did all of week 1. But can the Jets do that? All right, the Seahawks have maybe the best wide receiver trio in the NFL. It's right up there. Jets, we have Garrett and a whole lot of unknowns. Alan Lazard, you pretty much expect an up-and-down game from him most of the time. Xavier Gibson, he's being relegated practically to the bench. Mike Williams, we love him. We're excited about what he could be. He got a lot more snaps last week, getting more comfortable, but he still only has 1 catch as a New York Jet, even though it was a big one. Malachi Corley, he's still learning how to play wide receiver in the NFL. The tight ends have not been getting used at all. Rucker, Conklin, plus whoever the third tight end of the week is. I'd like to see them get a little bit more usage this week. So that's why we're seeing the running backs lining out wide. Even Braylon Allen got a few snaps lined up outside when they went to an empty backfield. So the Jets are going to need a third trusted option in the offense. Behind Brees and behind Garrett, you can include Braylon if you want as well. But at the end of the day, you're not going to have 2 running backs on the field most of the time. You need a second trusted receiving option. That is going to be a big deal. Sean McAteer, we got to win this game. Yes, we do, my friend. We do. I don't care if it's by 1 point or 51 points. Wild Wave, Keon White might be New England's best player, and you may very well be right with that. You could definitely make the argument. Tony Alexio says, Mike Williams can be our best receiver with his good hands. I think he can. If he's healthy, he could be right up there because he could do things Garrett can't do and vice versa. But, man, if the two of them are fully functioning together, that's a very, very good – I mean, that's an awesome 1-2 punch. It's almost like having a band when you have 2 guitar players. One is more of the rhythmic style and one is more of the finger picker style, like Aerosmith or the Eagles or the Doobie Brothers, those types of bands. those bands are always a little bit unique because they can do a little bit more than two guitarists who play the same style. And it's the same thing with wide receivers as well. See, I gave you an analogy. It wasn't a food analogy. It was a music analogy. So, and a couple of other game notes that I'm going to throw out here as well. Patriots have Joey Sly as kicker. Now, under 40 yards in his career, Sly is 70 for 74 on field goals. But 41 to 50 yards, he's just 35 for 46. And from 51 and up, just 20 for 32. A little bit over 50%. Not too good there. All right. So when he's 40 yards and under, he's in good shape. 41 and above, he's in trouble. But I'm going to give you one or two intangibles as well. You know, since Robert Saleh has been the Jets head coach, they have never won a Thursday night game. And in those games, they haven't been outscored 101 to 53. So the Jets better start fast. This is not something we're used to seeing from the Robert Saleh Jets because I don't think New England has the type of offense that could catch up if the Jets were to go up, let's just say double digits. I hate to have the mentality of whoever scores early is in the best shape to win, but it's really true. If a team can get up by more than a touchdown, they're going to be in fantastic shape to win this game. Because the Patriots are all about controlling the clock, and they're going to try to keep doing that. And they're going to keep doing it until the Jets prove that they can actually stop the run. Now, do I have the confidence Aaron Rodgers can bring them back? Yes, I do. But when your most trusted weapons, when two of your three most trusted weapons right now are running backs, you know, it's not the best situation. That doesn't usually spell a recipe for making a comeback. So, do I think the Jets should win this game? I absolutely do. I think I'm going to do my bold predictions video. I'm going to do that one separately. I'll have that posted in the morning, and that's where I'll give my score prediction as well. But I know Saleh is trying to change things up a little bit because he knows with the previous short rest games, it has not worked. Now, we don't know a whole lot of the specifics of it, but we'll see what winds up happening there. David D pointing out, I am 53 away from 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, we're getting there. We are getting there. Yep, I did meet a few folks in North Carolina at the Jets game. I got a few more subscribers that way. So, yeah, out there hustling, trying to get to that 1,000 plateau. And then, hey, I'm not going to be satisfied. Be on our way to 2,000. Why not? All right, just looking to see if there's any other comments or questions. We'll do the trivia in a couple of moments, guys. Will the Titans make it 3 weeks in a row with a block punt? If that's the case, somebody's got to get fired. Or somebody's got to get cut. One or the other. Man, can you imagine if that was like can you imagine a Mike Westhoff coach special teams unit giving that up? Man alive. Okay, so let's pull it. Let's see how we're doing with the likes here. By the way, if there are any Mets fans, I just posted a brief video on Sean Manaea and how he has turned his season around, and he has emerged as the Mets ace. So after we're done, you can definitely check that out. Okay, so we're at 11 likes right now. Okay, guys, tell you what, it is 10-7, but yeah, you guys know what's up. I got things to do. I got to hit the gym after this. I'm training for a race, and I'm always doing the training pretty much right after I do the show. So I got to get there at a reasonable time. Got a 5.5 mile run tonight. We got the great Grandizer saying, Baba Booey, where you been, man? Well, I am glad you are here. Sean McAteer, are we paying Hassan? How much does JJ you might have done this? So he is, I don't know. He is currently getting fined. He's forfeiting basically $800,000 for every game that he misses. He basically forfeits 1/17 of his salary for every game that he misses. So that's how that works. Because the NFL players get a game check after every game. So he is getting fined instead of getting a check. So right now we have not had to pay Hassan Reddick 1 cent. How much does JJ hurt us? He's our best edge rusher at stopping the run. He's the best edge setter that we have. So it's absolutely a loss. And we really don't have another edge that has that two-way ability that he does. You know, I wish Michael Clemens could do it. We haven't proven that he can. So, Grandizer, Adam, which Jets player going into week 3 has progressed the most? From last season, you could go a number of ways with this. You know, I could think about let's see, I'm thinking about the different offensive linemen. I could go with Joe Tippmann. I think Tippmann has shown some pretty notable improvement. Again, PFF had him rated as the second best center last week. that whole interior offensive line, I said they had to step up, and they did. And they held Jeffrey Simmons to no pressures. Devondre Sweat really didn't even get in the backfield. I think I could go Tittman offense. I could go on defense, Jamie Sherwood. Sherwood is getting a lot of opportunities. And with CJ Mosley out, he's been a tackling machine. He's not necessarily the best in coverage, but it's a contract year for Sherwood. He knows he has to make an impact, and we're seeing that so far. So, yeah, I would go Sherwood. You could go Irv Charles, too, on special teams with Justin Hardy. I think he just really needed an opportunity, kind of like Sherwood. You had Mosley and Hardy in those spots, respectively. Now, Hardy is left for Cleveland. Mosley is hurt, and now they have stepped up. So, yeah, I think, Tittman, Sherwood, and Charles are the first three that I would think of. Grandizer, I keep seeing where some Eagles fans, they want Reddick back. I'm sure they do, because they ain't happy with Bryce Huff right now. I was watching another YouTube channel, one from Philly. This one guy, he looks kind of like, if you remember Hamilton from the Sandlot movie, the big redheaded catcher. Basically, this is that guy. He looks like his twin brother, except he's an angry, pissed off Philadelphia sports fan. And one of the guys in his chat, I had to watch it after they lost that game to Atlanta because I just like seeing him get angry when the Philly teams lose. And one of the guys in the chat said, I could see why Bryce Huff wears number 0 because that's how much production we've gotten from him. So they're already pissed off. And I still think Huff is going to be fine for them. Keep in mind, Vic Fangio is the defensive coordinator. And that does make a pretty big difference because with Fangio, it takes time to learn his defense. It's very different where Huff was being only asked to do one or two different things. It's like, go beat the hell out of the offensive lineman and beat the hell out of the quarterback. He's got to do a lot more in this defense. So even though early on it does not look very good for our old friend, Mr. Huff, I think there is a ways to go. Did you say Eagles fans who try to warn you about Huff? No. No, we wanted him back. No, we want him back. There's no question about that. But, yeah, there's rumors about the trades, the player-for-player trades. It's not going to happen. John Franklin Myers, first of all, was dealing with a concussion issue. So that's the first problem. Huff might be a one-trick pony. Maybe. I thought he got better as years went on with defense. And, hey, you know what? If maybe a Takk McKinley or a Braden McGregor basically becomes Bryce Huff or Eric Watts, wouldn't we all sign for that? So, but you got to see some early glimpses. You got to see some early pressures from some of these guys. And now Watts should get an opportunity with Johnson sitting. Maybe they'll call up Jalen Holmes again. Maybe they'll call up Leonard Taylor. I'm very interested to see what the Jets do in terms of their roster call-ups. Maybe they call up an extra linebacker. Maybe they call up Marcelino McCrary Ball. Maybe they do something like that. They have a lot of options that they could pull up here. So, but it's been Jalen Holmes pretty much for the most part. I don't know if that's what's going to happen again. All right. Oh, I see Dano sent me a tweet or an X, whatever it's called now. I don't know. I mean, if it's an X, then what do you send somebody? Anyway. All right, guys. UCF football. UCF football space uniform. It takes a minute for this to load up. All right, guys. I'll tell you what. Let's get rid of that. So that's our game preview for Thursday night. Game starts in just 25 hours. And, yeah, just better win these next 2 games because that Minnesota game looks a whole lot harder than it did before. Even if Justin Jefferson is a little bit banged up, he is expected to play this coming week. Okay. Well, guys, I think it's just about that time. You know the time I'm talking about, where every week I bust open the books. I pull up the internet websites. I look up the Encyclopedia Britannica, and I challenge you, the most loyal fans of the most loyal fan base in all of the National Football League. Just how much do you know about your New York Football Jets? So if you are ready, it's that time. Let's play Jets Street. All right, so Dane sent me a picture real quick of the University of Central Florida space uniform. And, yeah, I'm going to try to put this on camera. I'll see if I can do that there. Actually, I'm going to kill the background one moment. So we'll get a look at the there we go. So that's basically it. So basically it's sort of a gradient sort of style there. So it's like black, gray. It looks like, yeah, it's like black fading into white. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm quite in love with that particular design. Yeah, numbers don't look bad. Like the numbers are white with a little bit of a light blue background, like black, white, and a touch of ice blue. That's a weird combination. I've seen worse, but I wouldn't be feeling this one. Okay, guys, so let's do the question tonight. You all know the rules. 5 minutes is what I'm going to set the timer for. And I can't play music because I got another copyright ding last week. So YouTube, that's what I got for you. All right, so I'm going to ask you a question. It's going to be a Jets-Patriots related question. And then throw your answers down there in the chat, and let's see if we can get the question right. So your question tonight goes like this. Name the 4 running backs who ran for at least 1,000 career yards with the Jets. Career yards with the Jets, and also played for the New England Patriots. Time's underway. So 4 running backs who ran for 1,000 yards or more with the Jets and also played at some point in their career for the Patriots. All right. So obviously, it would not be Altoon Grandis, but he was trying to get the answer before the question. Tony Alexio says the great Curtis Martin. Of course, Curtis Martin is correct. Curtis ran with the Jets for 10,302 yards, and he also played 45 games with the Patriots. Yep, David D. and Harlan echo that. Yeah. So we got Curtis, but can you name the other 3, chat? You guys have been doing very well. You're 2-0 so far during the regular season. So I had to sort of up the ante a little bit this time. And of course, we don't look it up. We don't use the Google or the Glencyclopedia or anything like that. All right, so Curtis Martin is 1. Tony Alexo goes with Braxton Berrios. So Tony, he is a wide receiver. So Braxton Berrios would not be eligible for this question. David D goes with Shane Vereen. No, Shane Vereen did not get to 1,000 yards with the Jets. I think Shane Vereen was a Giant. He was a Giant. He was not a Jet. And I will say this, they're all relatively recent. Like, we're not going back to the 60s or the 70s or anything like that. It's within the last little while. So we're not going too far back. David D goes with Danny Woodhead. Unfortunately, that is an incorrect answer. Danny Woodhead did not get 1,000 yards with the Jets. So that would be a no. Swig of water for the working man and woman out there. Love you guys joining me tonight. And, of course, tomorrow night I will post the 3 plays you may not remember that affected the outcome of the game. So I will definitely put that video up. We'll do that Thursday night. So be on the lookout for that. Sean McAteer goes with Chris Ivory. Chris Ivory was never a New England Patriot. Yeah, Ivory played with who besides the Jets and the Saints. Did he play with anybody else? Maybe he played for Buffalo. I want to say he went to Buffalo for a minute. The Saints, the Jets. He spent 2 years with the Jaguars and 1 year with the Bills. Chris Ivory was only with us for 3 years. Felt like he was here longer. Man, for 3 years he had a good impact. Who is that running back the Jets had out of Penn State? His name escapes me really good. I can't help you with that. Like a power type back. I don't know. Tony Alexio says Lamont Jordan. Is it Lamont Jordan? There is. Lamont Jordan ran for 1,277 yards with the Jets, and he played 8 games with the Patriots, had 80 carries with the Patriots too. So played half a season. So good job. So we got Curtis Martin and his counterpart, Lamont Jordan. But there are 2 more running backs, and we've got 1 minute and 10 seconds left, guys. I will say this. Both of these running backs ran for more yards with the Jets than Lamont Jordan did. One of these players is very popular, and one of these players is very despised. How about that? Less than a minute, boys and girls. All right. So you got 2 running backs down. We've got 2 missing. Who are the other 2? Tony Alexio says Thomas Jones. No, Thomas Jones was, I think, just a Bear and a Jet. It's not Thomas Jones. And we got 15 seconds left. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, so this round goes to me on this one. Chat won the first 2. I got this one. So the other 2 answers, we had Curtis Martin, Lamont Jordan. The other 2 are Blair Thomas and Leon Washington. That's right. Blair Thomas ran for 2,009 yards with the Jets, played 4 games with New England, had 19 carries, and Leon Washington, I know, 1,782 yards with the Jets running, played 2 games with New England, and had 1 carry as a Patriot. How many of y'all knew that Leon Washington was at one time a New England Patriot? Isn't that sad when you really think about it? Yep, so that was the answer to the question tonight. Everybody, I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. This was a lot of fun. Hope now you feel ready to watch Jets-Patriots Thursday night. Everybody, have a fantastic week. Remember, please share the channel with a friend, an enemy, family member, homeless guy on the street. It's all good. Everybody be well, and I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. That's right, the Wicker Chair. See you later, everybody.